Welcome back to the Traders Network. I'm Michael Yorba, your host. Thanks for joining us. We're also streaming to you live on yorbamedia.com and broadcasting to you from the Dallas KFXR 1190 AM Clear Channel studios. All right, my next guest for the next two segments is Mike Ellis, CEO ForgeRock. This is an identity relationship management company. These guys are on the cutting edge. Matter of fact, one of their slogans is "One Giant Leap for Identity," and it's got some guy on the picture or a picture of him on the moon. I like that. All right, Ellis, do we have Mike? No, we don't have Mike on the phone yet. All right, well, as soon as Mike meanders his way back to the phone, then we'll see if we can get him on here. What this company does, let me give you a little background on here, private. It's the fastest growing identity relationship management vendor in the world. It's building secure relationships across the modern web, focusing on online identities to grow revenue, extend reach, and launch into new business models. And ForgeRock's open identity stack, it will empower solutions for many of the world's largest companies, government organizations. And founded in 2010, ForgeRock's leadership team brings about 80 years of combined experience in the software industry, includes open source icons, innovations, and investors from two of the leading global venture capital firms, Akal Partners and Foundation Capital. So we're going to walk through some of the different conversations, and it's too bad when they don't show up for the interview. Kind of blows the whole thing. All right, well, you know what? I'll tell you what. Let's do this, Ellis. Since this guy's not going to show up for the interview, let's just go ahead and call Chris Clare, ask him if he wants to come on a little bit early, and I'm going to chat with Chris as much as I can. I'm sorry that Mike didn't make the interview, but that's just the way it is. Anyway. Okay, well, fine. Then when he calls back, we'll put him on the show later. Go ahead and call Chris, and we'll move on. But in the meantime, while she's dialing Chris and asking him, that's our managing editor of Reuters Hedge World. I'm gonna open this up and tell you what we're doing with the show. If all of you haven't heard yet, we have got some two new team members that are going to be coming onto the show, and I'm going to open up Mondays and Fridays to two unique shows. I think that there is a massive demand, and I'm going to fill that. On Mondays, Cammie Dean, she ran for Congress, and their loss is our gain. We're going to bring her on the show on Mondays, and she's going to interview all of the political or actually the people running for office, and she's going to be out and around doing things. We're going to set up various events for Cammie to invite the people that are going to be on the show to come and mix and mingle. And her main function is our political correspondent, and she's going to go out there and find out all of the inside scoop of what you really need to know to cast your vote, and what you really want to know to make sure that everything goes the way you want to when you send these people off to office to vote for you. So I'll be releasing some of the PR for her in a little while, and hopefully we get all of our ducks in line. She gets on the show with us on this coming Monday, and it's a huge send off. And there is another show that we're going to be launching, and that other show is on Fridays, and that was with Holly Wittenberg and also with Mona Lisa Como. And that show is about women in business, and not just showcasing the women that are in business, but it's all about the relationships that they develop with each other, being able to break through the glass ceiling and overcoming some of the various problems that occur in the different issues that come up, whether it's social, it's economic, it's political, so that we can do what our part is to make sure that everything is an equal playing field. I don't want anybody to think that I've got one side or the other more slanted. This is, as far as I'm concerned, it should be an even playing field, and people who own or are in positions like I am, who do have a little bit of a voice out there, should actually lend a hand to be able to make things like this work. And if we can hang on a second, wait, do we have Chris on the phone? No, we've got Mike. On the phone. Oh, Michael.
It's Mike Ellis with ForgeRock.
Hey, we found you, man. I'm glad you showed up.
Yeah, sorry about that. How are you?
I'm doing good. All right. Tell us a little bit about your background, who you are, and then let's get into ForgeRock, and you can tell me what they do.
Well, thanks so much, Michael. Yeah, so I've been in the software and technology business for over 30 years, and we've been at ForgeRock now here for about 4 years old. Very exciting company that's focused on really providing this next level of security and identity management to large companies and government sector, critical to how the whole security market is moving and moving forward in terms of solving some of the big problems out there today.
What are the big problems out there today?
Well, as you know, there have been a number of very large corporate security breaches, as well as, I think, issues in terms of how companies deal with identity and identity breaches for their customers, for all of the customer identities and supplier identities that they deal with day to day. And so what ForgeRock solves is we provide not only a management and an ability to secure those identities so that those companies can really transact on a day-to-day basis that's not only safe and secure for that particular customer, but also provide a way for that company, that enterprise, that government to better interface with those employees or citizens or customers that they're dealing with. And it really allows them to help them do business in this new generation, this new environment of fast-moving, internet-scale type of commerce, if you will.
Okay, let's talk about the 2013, incredible year that you had. We got about 2 minutes left in the segment, so give us an idea what accomplishments you guys were managed to make come to fruition.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. So we are the fastest-growing identity security management firm in the business globally. So we did about a little over 300% growth year over year, 2013 over 2012. And we're really growing at an astronomical level. And I think a lot of it has to do with companies that are starting to reach out and build new customer enablement systems. They're trying to figure out how do they drive a new level of customer enablement and how they interact with their customers and citizens. So we're also deeply penetrated in government business globally through countries like Belgium, with Norway, the Vatican, in fact, Canada, and others that use the foundation from ForgeRock as really the core identity platform for their citizens. Similarly, in large enterprise, very large companies like Geico and Amtrak and State Farm and others utilize our platform for interacting with all of their customers and employees and citizens as well.
Interesting. All right, let's do this. Let's take a break now. We'll cover all of the rest of the content on the other segment. But before we go, you've got contact information in case somebody wants to carry on the conversation with you offline.
Yes, that would be great. So please contact us at ForgeRock.com, www.ForgeRock.com. We're all in the business of helping companies get better at interacting with their customer and with their suppliers. And so identity management is the core thing that we do, and we really provide this next generation level of identity and security for companies and governments.
Okay. All right. We'll be right back on the other side of this break with Mike Ellis, CEO of ForgeRock. And special thanks to Monk Media and 1-800 Public Relations for all their PR and their media support. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Traders Network. I'm Michael Yorba, your host. Thanks for joining us. We're also streaming to you live on yorbamedia.com and broadcasting to you from the Dallas KFXR 1190 AM Clear Channel Studios. All right, I have got Mike Ellis, CEO of ForgeRock, on the show with me today. Mike, this year started out with a bang when it comes to security breaches. Talk to us about what's going on in that sector.
Sure. Thanks, Michael. Yeah, the biggest shift, as we all know, is that companies are doing business online as every way of going to business has shifted from just point of sale and in person to actually transacting online, but also transacting with a customer identity in some way, shape, or form. And so our business has just gone through the roof because of the need to more securely manage that customer identity and help companies, retailers, consumers, but also large enterprise to better manage that and securely manage that identity and help them do business with their customers in a more efficient manner. The breaches that occur are interesting because, either the large enterprise is losing some level of data around their customer or their customer identity or customer financial information, et cetera. And what ForgeRock does is provide another level of security in managing that identity and properly, let's say, protecting that enterprise, that company, but most importantly, the customer with their identity information and data.
Okay. When we started off the conversation, you have some of the world's largest companies you work with and also governmental agencies. Without naming names, what kind of governmental agencies would employ a company like yours out in the private sector instead of internally?
It's a great question. So we're doing business with the U.S. federal government here in the United States, but also a number of countries in both Europe as well as Asia that want to, much like the private sector and the commercial sector, they want to more securely manage that citizen identity. And they also want to be able to provide, additional service levels to those consumers and those citizens as well. So as an example, as you launch new capabilities or new services to the citizens of a particular country, many of those countries are formulating countrywide identity programs that help them better manage how they service that citizen, how they provide online capabilities and information, and also how they transact with that particular citizen and provide services. So our business at the government level, equal to the commercial sector, is also equally super high growth right now because of the governments themselves trying to get better at what they do, servicing the citizens.
Yeah, it's been my thought that when you're talking about high level encryption and super security, that it was really the government sponsored entities inside of themselves were the ones that were really leading the technology race. Because it was, spy versus spy has been so prevalent, whether just in the government side, let alone corporate espionage. Let me move this forward just a little bit. What do you think? Because we've got a little time left. What do you think the challenges to governments and institutions, corporate institutions? What do you think those challenges are going to be what do they look like as we go forward? Things where they come to you and say, look, here's a new problem, fix it.
Yeah, so it's a great question. I think the most critical, important, high-value component here is the protection of the identity itself. And so be it a customer for a large corporation or a citizen of a government, being able to transact securely and being able to control the functionality and the capability of the types of services you offer around that particular person or company's identities is extremely important because the trust level is probably one of the most critical things that go on here, both at the government level and commercial. And being able to transact at a safe, secure, but also provide new service levels that either drive revenue for commercial companies or service levels that drive new features and capabilities for governments to their citizens is really important. And to do so in a secure manner is equally important to do that in a way that you can launch these new services in a timely manner. So it's not only security, but it's also how you manage those identities and what types of services and offerings you can provide to them in a timely manner, meaning not 3 years from now as you build out applications or identity systems, but actually provide something quickly in the next quarter or so in terms of service levels. So timing of delivery of value, doing it securely, both at the government level as well as the commercial level, and being able to provide these new service levels that also drive new revenue and new service capabilities for those companies and governments is really critically important.
Are there any geographical parts of or geographical locations that you're seeing more opportunity with your business than you have in the last, say, couple of years, last 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, it's another great question. We luckily and very uniquely are a global company, and we started as a global company. It's very unique with young startup companies in the technology sector. Most of them start in one continent and then spread to the others over 5 or 7 years. We started globally, and I think the real driver for that has been that this need for fast-moving, high-scale, secure identity management as part of the overall security picture is a global question. Mm-hmm. I think it as businesses really understand that their purview about how they do business is a global view. It is a total global environment, especially because most of it's online these days. Handling and managing that identity management and security is also global. To say that one continent over another is growing faster, we're actually seeing it across all of the 3 major sectors, EMEA, Americas, and APJ, as being very, very fast growth vehicles for ForgeRock, especially since we provide an open platform that makes it very easy for governments and other companies to embrace our technology and, frankly, put it into their stack of technologies that offer up these capabilities.
Well, the reason I ask that is once people or entities become sophisticated enough to employ your technology, it tends to lead for investments of a broader scale to follow in that geographical area. I'll give you an example. We had a guy on the show that he was in charge of the entire continent of Africa for Microsoft, and they're embedding their technology in younger people by training them to do work for them. And I was wondering how Africa would stack up next to Latin America or the Eurasia, things like that. So I was that's what it was purely a selfish reason for asking you that. But you're the kind of guy that once they get into your business and they start having to become sophisticated enough to protect their assets, then it tends to follow more businesses go into that geographical region. Yeah,
that is very true. And I think one of our real advantages as well is because we're easy to embrace as a technology mm-hmm. for other companies, mm-hmm. That we've been able to penetrate both emerging markets as well as the major commercial markets as well in the Americas and EMEA through those other channels. So as an example, companies that embed our technology in how they go to market with their own products. A good example is Salesforce. Salesforce.com, the big CRM player that's big SaaS application vendor, actually uses ForgeRock technology as part of their identity management services offerings, and they do so globally.
Michael, let me interrupt you. I hate to do that, but we're out of time. I just lost all track of you. Got me all passionate. Let me sign up real quick. Contact information for you.
Sure. www.ForgeRock.com. Love to hear from you all out there.
Great, thank you. And special thanks to 1-800-PublicRelations.com and Monk Media. We'll be right back with another hour of our show.